Hi, I'm Suzanne Cecil. I am currently the president of the Sullivan County Historical Society, and I've been involved with RSVP since, I believe, 2016, when I first started volunteering for a second round at the museum. I do a lot of research. I maintain the obituary collection, which is very popular with people researching their families, and just oversee things that come up in the day-to-day running of the Historical Society.
You also oversee the RSVP program as it pertains to this facility, right?
Yes.
And how many volunteers do you currently have, would you say, roughly?
About, for RSVP, I think there's about maybe 10 people that participate with the RSVP program. Some would like to, but they haven't reached the magic age yet.
And that age being?
Too young.
I know, but the magic age to reach is 55, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And we have a couple of people that haven't quite made it.
So without the RSVP program, it would be that much more difficult, I would assume, to accomplish what you need to accomplish here, right?
Yes, especially when you look at the price of gasoline these days, for the amount that little bit of money that comes in each month does make a difference, because we are all retired. Many are on various fixed incomes, so it does help. And yet also many of our volunteers come in more than the number of days they would get reimbursed for mileage.
Okay.
We have many different things people can do. A lot of it may relate to research, helping people find information about their families and genealogy. Also, we get a lot of people inquiring about hotels, bungalow colonies, so anything with that. We have people who can help. We would need people who can help with the technology part, making sure our computers are working properly, because most of us don't have that knowledge to do that. Those are big things right now. We definitely need someone to help with the vintage clothing collection that we have. We have dresses that date back to 1700. So we need someone who has an interest in maintaining that collection to keep them preserved. And that's an area it's hard to find someone with the know-how to do that.
Hey.
Right.
Hi, I'm Bill Grunwald. I volunteer, one of the volunteers of the RSVP program, which has been kind of nice to get something being thanked with a little check every month, you know. Of course, it pays the gas coming up, so it's been a nice little benefit. The thing I enjoy most around the museum, I've done an awful lot of work on exhibits. I've been taught some things about putting on exhibits. For example, when you create signage for an exhibit, I was told, you're not writing an encyclopedia to put on the wall. You're just describing what you see there. So that made it easier, that you just have to pick up highlights of what you're trying to show in an exhibit. So, but there's been other people have helped an awful lot. One particular person, he's not here right now. I don't see Fred here. I will take something and hang it on the wall by eye. And Fred gets the ruler and the levels and, portable screwdriver, the drill, and does it properly. And of course, when I eye it, sometimes I have to pull out the nail and move it over an inch. So there's been a lot of help. So all these tidbits I picked up, and a lot of them I try when I do an exhibit, I try to put one of these highlights in each thing, in each display. And I've also met some nice people. One of the recent exhibits I did was Grossingers Remembered. And, I decided, I tracked down Elaine Grossinger Edis, Jenny Grossinger's daughter. She and her brother ran the Grossingers for a number of years. And and I told her what I was doing up here, and she said, "Well, how much space have you got to put up the exhibit?" And I froze because it was very little. And then when I found out how much material she could send up, I managed to get a whole wall in the museum, which...
I'm Pat Burns. I'm an RSVP volunteer. I have been for many years. I have to say I moved up here permanently almost 40 years ago with my husband. This was the greatest introduction to Sullivan County. I had no idea Sullivan County had so much history and so many wonderful, wonderful people that came from it. I think everyone thinks of the hotels, perhaps, or a summer place to go. My expertise is clothing, really. And we have one of the finest clothing collections I have ever come across. We started with a dress from a lady from the 1700s. Lizzie has actually had probably a better museum life than I have because she's traveled. She goes down, she's done Williamsburg to be authenticated, she's done the New York Fashion Center. If you walk in and you look at it and say, oh, it's a cotton dress. No, Lizzie's not a cotton dress. There's so much history that goes with her. And that's the most wonderful part of being at the museum. It gives you so many things to, as Bill said, learn, and if you have a knowledge of something, to explore. We did an exhibit one year called The Bride Wore Purple. How many people think of a bride wearing purple? But brides only had one dress at that time. The film is great. We went right through the Woodstock era, and these are all donated clothing by people. Most of the clothing we have is, you can't say a particular era, because it's not. It goes from the very early 1800s straight through to today. And since now we're working on an exhibit for spring millinery. How many great hats. We all wore hats. It's just been a wonderful learning experience, besides the nice people that we work with. I can pick on some of them sometimes.
Hi, I'm Ruth Hugler, and I'm a volunteer with RSVP, and I'm a newbie here, even though I've been coming to the museum since 1990s or thereabout. My family has been from the county since it was part of Ulster County, so I had focused on learning more about my family and found that there were a lot of things here that related to either my family or the branches that seem to connect to a lot of other people in the county. So one of the things that I love to do is go through the obituary file here, which covers the entire wall behind you, and see what I can find and keep track of those relatives I didn't know I had.
And you enjoy being an RSVP volunteer?
Oh yes, yeah. I definitely do. It's actually, I had been coming here to do research anyway, and it was mentioned to me that that small reimbursement could be a help because I live pretty far from Hurleyville. So I enjoy the people that I work with here too. So that's another big plus.
You're right.
I'm Donna Harness. I'm an RSVP volunteer, and I track the donations that people send in. I put the information into the computer, and I send material back to the donors so they can sign it and send it back to me, so it's officially a part of the museum.
Okay. And how long have you been doing this?
Since April of last year.
Oh, okay. What prompted you to get involved?
Well, Sue had sent out a newsletter or an email asking people if they would like to help out, and she listed the areas they needed help in. And I saw this position with the research, and I thought that would be very interesting to do, and it has been. The people are great to work with, so I really look forward to coming here.
Hi, I'm Eldrick Fraiani. I volunteer here at the Sullivan County Historical Society Museum, and I appreciate how important volunteerism is. I managed volunteers in the past, And there's no more precious gift that you could give than your extra time. We don't have enough of it, it seems sometimes, but sharing it, especially for a mission like this, which really preserves and promotes the history of Sullivan County and our country, is a fun thing to do. So we benefit as much as the people that we're volunteering for.
And how long have you been a volunteer?
I've been a volunteer here for at least a year. It's been a couple of years. We seem to have skipped a year with COVID, but we've been here a few years. And there's some very interesting projects that we're working on. And I had some photography experience and a little bit of IT experience that has helped get the machinery running. We've been working on websites and information systems and trying to modernize and doing it within the realm of no money. So without money, volunteers are the core of our organization, and they're an extraordinary group here, and happy to be a part of it. Mm-hmm. And we all have great ideas about how to do things, and our structure works for that, but we need labor. We need volunteers to make that happen. So if you know people that have an interest in history and interested in not-for-profit organizations, it's a classic not-for-profit structure. But we all have great ideas, but when you look around the room and say, who's going to do it? Well, everybody's pretty much filled up. Bill's got a lot of projects going on. Suzanne has been busy through the entire pandemic. She ran this museum basically by herself. But even with our fully staffed volunteer complement, we still need more people to do things, and it's gratifying work. It's a lot of fun, and we have a great dinner every year at the Rockland House. So, pass it on to folks if you know anybody that's interested in working with. I just asked Donna how she's enjoying being a volunteer. She's one of the newer ones. She goes, she loves it here. Their work is gratifying, and the people are really cool. So if you can't ask for anything better in the workplace, that's what we're looking for. People that want to have fun and be around really cool people. It's a great mission.